Well, this is going to be an interesting lecture. Why? Because in this lecture, I will be analyzing a practice chart, a case study prepared by a student of mine. Currently, you see on the screen is his study. We'll go through this, and once we are done going through this, I will practice on the same stock, and through that, you can learn a lot of things on how to present your charts, how to practice, and what exactly you have to practice about, right? Because practicing is good, but practicing in the right direction is what will help you accelerate your progress. So let's begin. And the agenda is that the stock is 20 microns, and we are analyzing today's move. What is today here? It's 26th of July 2024 that we are going to analyze here. So let's see that. And here you see you have the monthly chart posted at first. There are observations, okay? Then there are the weekly observations here. Then there are daily observations. What I like up till now in this is the segregation he has done. That's important because just through a single glance, I can know a lot of things here. Then there is a daily chart and everything has been written. Then I believe there is a hourly chart, which I believe could have been much better. The presentation, the selection of these boxes and all that. Anyways, good work in terms of observations, the points that have been written. But there is an important point that is missing, which is your thoughts. Up till now, what has been written here is facts. It's visible to anybody who is with Rich Road. But you have to go beyond that. And what exactly is that? Now I'll show you while I practice. So please take good care and observe. All your focus should be here on the charts now. So let's see. We are on the trading view. And as usual, we always see the monthly chart. And I can clearly see we are in the uptrend now, right? We were in a big range till this point. And then now we are in the uptrend. So that is good. And the area, are we concerned with this area as of now while you are here? No, right? So once I have the view where we are, I can simply ignore that area and zoom in the area where I'm concerned. You don't have to zoom in all the way. Doesn't look good. You just have to keep it balanced. And I've seen a lot of people do this. They leave a lot of blank space here. It doesn't look good. It's not symmetrical. So keep your chart like this. Okay. And this is the area of resistance that we have marked. Now talking about what is this time frame, you have to mention this is your TTF so that I know what kind of points I have to look for here. So the monthly will be TTF and I'll see the DNA. Well, DNA, if you see a single candle is going around, what? 20%, 30%, right? So good DNA, 20 to 30% in single candle, and it's a decent DNA. It's not the best. It's not excellent DNA. It's decent. You know it, right? Okay. Now there are a few points that you have to see. Before this contraction, you see, every contraction was very deep. The move started here and the contraction almost came back in. The move started here, the contraction came back in. But this time it did not. So that's interesting. And every time the contraction had these big red candles. You see the size of these? But this time it was not there. And the 10 was not the candle. The candle never closed below your 10 moving average. So a point to be noted. These are the thoughts you should have while you are analyzing. And I would have written those here, but why I'm not writing? Because this is not my STF. So I'm really not concerned with that, but I'm just showing you the thoughts you should have when you see a chart. Anyways, what is the trend here? What is the trend? Where are we? Trend is uptrend. And where is the stage? Well, the stage is stage 2. So we'll just mention that here. So the stage has been mentioned. The trend has been mentioned here. And yeah, it's coming off from the M10 in M. And there is a resistance that has been drawn. Apart from that, I think everything is fine from the perspective of your trend time frame, right? Okay. Good. Good enough. Now let me just download this as I'll post this on the Twitter as well. So I'll just bring it here. And we are good to go from the perspective of TTF. Now let's move ahead to the weekly one. Let me get rid of everything we have done. And again, are we concerned with this area right now? We are not. So the focus is here on the weekly. And what are we trying to analyze? We are trying to analyze this move that came, how you could have traded this, where you could have bought this stock, how you could have positioned yourself. That's the importance. So let's have a look at the weekly time frame. And this week's candle came in entirely on Friday, the last day. So that candle was never there. So let's see. So weekly had the resistance. Now again, if you see, this is again your TTF. So you mentioned that and you put that here. And the next thing that you have to see here is the DNA of weekly. Well, it's 18, 18, 12, 15. So you get that point, right? 15 to 20% I can write here. And it's a decent DNA. Why? Because previously the DNA was pretty horrible. It was pretty bad here. But recently what happened, every time an up move came, it had a good candle, which is clearly visible here. That's why the DNA is not excellent. It's just decent. It's fine. So again, a good candle can be expected. Similar candle. Then what is the trend? Well, it's uptrend clearly. The stage is 2. So everything is just fine, guys. And there is a resistance which we have drawn already coming from the weekly. And there was one more resistance which has been taken care of, but we'll just mark it. So I believe this is the analysis for the TTF on the monthly and the weekly. Good enough. Let's just download this. Great. Now, the second thing to think is, can this be the STF? This is the analysis of TTF. What about STF? So what you will see is, if this was my STF, what I would do is there was up move which took price away from 10 EMA, right? Let me just wrap this text up. Okay. And now we are consolidating above from 10 EMA, right? Above 10 EMA. And we have a lot of distance. If you see these candles, we have a lot of distance between 10 EMA. So definitely that is not a good place to take the entries, as I always say. So what you will do, if you are trading here, or even if you are keeping this as TTF, you have to be mindful of this fact that you are away. You are away from the 10 EMA. So a point to be noted. Great. So this is enough. I'll download this. And now we are at the daily where everything will happen. So a lot of analysis will be done here. So now again, am I concerned with this area on the daily? No, I'm not. Right? But if you see, the DNA that we talk about, the DNA here was pretty awful, right? What happened after that? From this area onwards, every up move had these blue candles. And the good thing is, this up move had a dark blue candle. This up move is also having a dark blue candle. So that's a good thing. So for the starting, let's just mention what exactly do we have on our hands here. Is the daily as your STF. And we'll mark the important points. The DNA. DNA is, it's decent DNA again. Single candle is giving you 7 and over here 13% move. So somewhere around that region, we can expect that move. So I'll keep it 8 to 13%, right? So the DNA is decent and the trend is up. So you mentioned that trend is uptrend. Stage is definitely 2. Okay. So we are clear on this. Now what? Now there are a few important points that you need to see. What is the area you are trying to analyze? Let's just mark that. And always do this when you mark this area, never use a lot of background color in this. Instead, use a background. Instead, use a border color. So what you have to do is get rid of the background, give it some good opacity, and keep the border thickness to the minimum. And now you're good to go. It keeps your chart pretty neat. Okay, and this is the move we are analyzing. So what you will do is we had a good up move. Now the time is to start writing your thoughts. That's how you practice. Good up move we had. CBs were amazing here. This candle I'm talking about. With good volume cluster. Now this is the important point that I'm talking here. It's about the volume cluster. I've talked about this point before as well, that the single tower of volumes, this is a single tower of volume. There is no good volume before that or after that. There are good volume clusters that you see here, which are absent. So that's an important point you have to write. There is a good volume cluster that I see. So just mark it. Now I'll remove this area because we now know what we are analyzing, what we are doing. So yeah, we had a good CB here. And we also had good volume cluster. Now to show the volume cluster, you can certainly draw a triangle. It helps you. Great. Then what we had, then we kept going up. And what happened eventually turned into a weak expansion. Why is it a weak expansion? I mean, look how the expansion ended over here. That's not the way I would like or I would prefer to end my contractions, right? There are much better ways. What would have been the best? It would have been best if you consolidated within this high. And even after this high, you were creeping up, which is not a good thing. Because of that, what happened, by the time price came to its 10 EMA, the slope of 10 EMA went flat and it did not provide you support. Right? So that is a point that has to be mentioned. Turn into a weak expansion, and by the time price came to 10 EMA, the 10 EMA went flat, hence no support. No support. Price went for a V12. And you can clearly see that has happened here. Price closed below your 10 moving average. So that's a point that is noted and should be taken care of. You just cannot ignore it. It's an important point. After that, what happened? Okay, then what happened? So we are going now sequence-wise. For CBs, contraction, and then what happened after that? Now the price closed below 10 EMA. Let me just bring everything together a bit more. We need a little bit more space, so we'll just arrange it. And that's how you should do as well. So either V12 or V25 could have happened, right? So I'll just mark that. Okay. After that, what happened? We had a DC which took us to 10 EMA. Did not close about 10 EMA, but took near to 10 EMA. That's an important point. After which you had a rejection. right? Which was then followed by a candle which actually closed about 10 EMA. Now what we have to see is how it behaves above the 10 EMA. That's important. So again, these are the thoughts you have to write. The stock is in watch list now. So now you will simply observe it, what it does after closing above 10 EMA, and just mark it. This is the zone we have talked about. This is the DC and the candles following to it. Okay. So at this point, the stock is in your watch list. Okay. Now all you have to do is observe what happens above the 10 EMA. And how will you do that? You will go to the ETF. We'll go to the ETF and we'll see over there what happens. So let me just download this. And let's go to the ETF, which is your hourly. Now the game begins. Now, are you concerned with this area? No, you're not. You're concerned with this area. Once the stock is in your watch list, then the role of ETF comes in. Okay. So you see, this was the DC on daily, which brought us close to 10 EMA. And we see on ETF H, it did not take us, or it did not make the 20 EMA cross above 50 EMA, right? So again, we are not doing anything. Now, you don't have to analyze the DNA or anything as such here. It's ETF. That's the work for TTF and the STF. Okay. So what you will do is nothing, right? At this point, there is no stock in watch list. But then what happened? You want to see? Let's go to the daily. And this is the day, 23rd of July, you got it in the watch list. Let's see. This is the candle of 23rd July. So let's analyze this area and let's analyze this candle. On 23rd July, we had closing above 10 EMA, getting the stock in watch list. And when we observe the ETF, we see it made 20 cross above 50 EMA, and that's exactly what we are looking for. But now we have to wait and see how the stock behaves around its D10 EMA. That's important. What if the very next day the stock price closes below the 10 EMA? Then what? There's no point of doing any analysis on the ETF, right? Okay, and after that, what happened? 20 was above 50. And you see, the structure is good. The VCC is there, right? The volatility contraction pattern that you talk about, it's clearly visible here. You have what? Higher highs and high lows. I'm just marking it to show you. I hope it's visible to you. It's VCC, right? So I'll just get rid of these lines. It's visible. Now what happens? Let's go and see. This is the day 24th July and 25th July. Okay. So 24th July, what happened? Let's write that down. I think this is the 24th July. 24th July kept the price above 10 EMA on D. And where did we close? We closed above 20 EMA on the H. And we closed above 20 EMA on the H. Now, you can start building the positions. As there are no bad candles here, the ETF looks amazing, and the daily STF has closed above the 10 EMA, now has given you an inside bar which has closed above its 10 EMA. So that's a good thing. You can start building or accumulating positions, whatever. You get that point, right? We don't buy above the high of the bars and all that. You should never. Ready to add more if it comes to H50 EMA. That's important. With good candles. What I mean by that? Small body contraction candles. Maintaining the VCC. Okay. Do excuse these errors. I don't want to waste your time in these pretty things, but anyways, right? This is the day you start adding, and then what happens? On 25th July, you have the price closing at its hourly 50 EMA. Good small candles, right? That's important. If there were big red candles, then there is no point, right? So now you have the price closing at 50 EMA of H. So you can add more. And where will be the SL? The SL will be slight below the 200 moving average. So what is the SL if you try to calculate? Let's say this is the area of average buying price. Then you are having the SL of 4.6%. Again, you are trading V12, you are not trading M10. And as you get good with the practice, right, these SLs which you see here can be reduced down to a lot simpler and smaller numbers. But that will come through experience. And you see a stock and you know what it may do the very next day. That's what you have to do. Great then. On 25th July, you have the price closing at hourly 50 EMA through good small candles. So you add more positions, right? Okay. This is how the work has to be done. And one thing that we will see is we have the earnings. So on the STF, it's a point to be mentioned that positions have to be in control of risk as we have earnings. So I'm assuming you know the earnings and you are shaking the gamble on the earnings. That's what you are doing, right? Or anyways, if you don't want to take it overnight, you can very well place your orders in the morning here and then see how it goes. So no big risk as such you will have to face, or you'll see. Okay. Then what happens the very next morning? You have a solid candle, takes you up, consolidation, and whenever the earnings are through the day, you had an amazing candle which gave you amazing returns. So this is how the hourly ETF analysis looks like. And that's exactly the work you have to do every single time. So this is how the ETF was. There was an amazing VCC happening over here. And you see, the candle which gave you the bounce above the 10 EMA also made 20 of hourly cross above 50. And then you had everything. These are the small things you have to see. There was one candle which took you to 10, but that did not make 20 above 50. Right? That's why it's not a good area to add. It could have continued to go down and then again come up. It's better to add here. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the facts. Now, if you see the document here, everything that has been written is plain fact. It doesn't represent you. It doesn't tell me what is going on in your mind while you are analyzing that opportunity, what you are looking for. There are no thoughts. This is theory. And this is something anybody, any person can do. And this work will not help you in trading. Because when you make decisions, it's the talk that goes in your mind. So do the same. Whenever you are practicing, whatever your brain is telling you, just write it down here. Whatever the thoughts are. Don't write these facts. It will not help you. This is shallow work. And yeah, I mean, just see now, see this hourly ETF that has been posted here, or this one, and just see this one looks neat, looks clean, right? And I've explained this through a video, right? Aesthetics of the charts. I'll link that video in the description so you can watch that. But I just wanted to give you this small input from my side that this is how you have to practice. Practicing is not seeing the facts on the chart because everyone can see that. That doesn't help you in becoming a trader. Write down your thoughts. Where will you keep it in watch list? What will be the thoughts you will have in your mind? Those are the important points. I hope you took the value, and I hope to see that being put into the practice from now onwards.